Hey everybody, Andrew Zimmern here. Spilled milk, ask me anything. Uh, Guess what? I'm not in a hotel. Pretty nice, huh? Let's get right to it, shall we? And answer your questions. Lots of great questions today. Pam writes, my question is regarding farm seafood. Apparently, you're comfortable with this idea. I'm more than comfortable. I insist that it's necessary for the survival of the human race, for repairing the fragility of our food system, and for feeding a hungry planet as we move in, well, we're already at a time where, due to the climate crisis, we're compromised beyond our capabilities to deal with it. Pam continues, I feel this industry needs a couple more years to be on top of regulations and perfecting the technique so that it's totally safe for human consumption. Well, it has been perfected, it just hasn't been perfected anywhere. And the reason why I endorse it wholeheartedly before it's perfected everywhere is that perfection is the enemy of good. And because we're in the middle of an existential crisis, I believe that over the last 5 years, it has swung in the direction where we can wholeheartedly endorse aquaculture, despite, just like anything else, there being a couple bad actors in the game. We tolerate factory farms that are producing chickens because they're able to do so at a low price. Even though those farms are raising animals under inhumane conditions and containing all kinds of nasty little bits. I was going to say nuggets, but that would be a little too punny. Despite the fact that we know that there's problems with it, we continue to allow them to be served in our food system. Pam continues, I can't stand the idea of shrimp, as an example, being held in an enclosure and given antibiotics. Neither can I. But there are many incredible shrimp farms, including some land-based ones, like right here in the Midwest, in Minneapolis and in Indiana. There are fantastic shrimp producers. She says she doesn't like it when the water enclosure has not been properly cleaned. Absolutely. Same thing with an abattoir that's not cleaned properly, or a field where hogs and cows and sheep are standing knee deep in their own excrement, or chickens that aren't being allowed to roam free. Don't pick on aquaculture. Aquaculture is actually producing healthy protein at a one-to-one food system. We've eliminated copper netting. We've increased the number of cubic feet of water per fish. In other words, decreased the number of fish in a pen so they have more room. We now have feeding machines that only dispense what's able to be eaten. In other words, by putting a lot of small food into the water, not a lot of food falls to the bottom. And in countries like Chile, wherever you're raising salmon, for example, you have to plant a certain number of mussel and oyster columns so that you're actually contributing to the cleaning of the water. Pam writes, our ocean waters are being so contaminated because of humans, correct. Aquaculture seems like an acceptable way. You're darn tootin' it is. 3 billion, I think, people a year rely on, or on this planet rely on seafood and other food from other waters to, like lakes and streams, rely on fish and seafood as their main source of protein. 2 billion people earn their living primarily on the waters. We can't shut them down. We have to both protect our water and produce from them. And aquaculture is the answer. And as many of you know, I am making a 4-part documentary about this that I'm producing along with David E. Kelly called Hope in the Water. And that will be out in 2024. Mel writes, Costco bagels are Einstein made, and I find them delicious and chewy. I guess Mel saw me declaring the Einstein bagel to be the single worst airport food of all time, which it is. Mel continues, the everything have a few anise seeds on them, which give a surprising burst of an unexpected flavor. I love anise. The cinnamon raisin are so chewy that I gnaw on them without any toppings. like a woman obsessed. Perhaps all Einstein bagels aren't created the same. I would imagine so, because Einstein bagels in airports, as I said, are the single worst airport food known to man. Sam writes, as someone who's not from Minneapolis but settled here, as am I'm curious what brought you to Minnesota and what kept or keeps you here. I came on the night of January 28th, 1992. I was a homeless junkie alcoholic that had tried to off himself, and it didn't work, and I had yet another intervention and wound up in the Twin Cities because I had people who loved me who gave me a one-way ticket here. And I promised a friend who visited me here when I was about 6 months clean from New York, an art dealer. He was here in town, and he visited me, and he actually got me to promise that if I had a year that was worse than the year before it, I could move home. Because I told him my plan was to move home right away. And he said, you're being ridiculous. He said, you finally seem happy. You finally seem like you're doing something with your life. You finally have slowed and or eliminated many of your consequences from using, because I wasn't using. So that's why I stay here. And it's a wonderful community. It's beautiful, great place to raise a family, great place to come to if you're in the business I'm in, and just decompress. I love Minnesota. Minnesota and the Twin Cities loved me when I didn't love myself and got me well. It's a debt that I can never repay, and it's why I keep shamelessly promoting and loving up this incredible community. Lucas writes, favorite foods at Disney parks, both junky and quality. Well, those are just different types of quality, Lucas. He also writes, any plans to visit Australia anytime soon? I'm actually have been talking about that with a couple people, of trying to get down there in 2024 and do an Indonesia and Australia thing. I'm obsessed with Disney World. I love Disney World. And I mean, from the giant turkey legs to the pizza restaurant in Epcot, in the Italian area there. It's a miniature Venice. Little miniature St. Mark's Square. And there's an Italian restaurant in there that has these giant gaping mouths of the big volcanoes in Italy as their brick ovens for cooking the pizza. And it's great food. I love it. I love the bakery and candy shop in Germany. I love the cheesy Mexican restaurant inside the pyramid in the Mexico Pavilion. I absolutely love, and look, is it the greatest quality in the world? Not really, but the teppanyaki place in Japan, I just adore that. I love everything about Disney World. I love the hot dog place that serves the hot dogs and ice cream as you're walking in to what's the main park there called, where Cinderella's castle is. Just love it. There's nothing they serve at Disney World that I don't like. Brown Derby, fantastic. The grapefruit cake, oh my gosh, I love that place. Primetime Cafe, peanut butter and jelly milkshake, slice of meatloaf, whipped potatoes, gravy. Come on, out of sight. I mean, I could just keep going and going. Absolutely love Disney World. Anthony writes, what toppings would you suggest, including on a beef rendang taco? So far, I have a roti flatbread. Okay, nice. So roti is a flatbread, right? Beef rendang, which is Malaysian sambal braised beef. And he needs something more. I mean, with that, I would put crispy fried shallots or onions, something really crunchy, because the beef rendang is soft, as is roti is soft. And I would probably have some sort of hot, spicy, pickled, thin cucumber there. I'd probably shave the cucumber and toss it quickly in a little bit of hot chili oil with a little bit of lemon and some lemon zest. Some crispy fried onions or shallots. I like it spicy, but I want that vegetal cold crunch with my beef rendang in my roti flatbread taco. Sounds yummy. C. Walden's Pond, I hope I pronounced that right, writes, what is a good bouillabaisse? Well, the classic, and anything else is just a fish stew or chowder of some kind. But a real Provençal bouillabaisse from the south of France is made with a saffron mayonnaise, a rouille, perched on a crouton on top of it to stir into this incredible tomato and seafood broth that's been boiled vigorously enough that the olive oil in there is emulsified into it, and you've poached or braised small whole fish, heads off, scales off, gutted, but whole fish, lots of little ones, crustaceans, mollusks, whatever you want to throw in there seasonally. And it is arguably one of my favorite dishes in the whole world. Now, in most parts of southern France that serve bouillabaisse traditionally, the broth is served. Sometimes it has some onion and some thinly shaved braised fennel in it, and that's one course. Then you get the poached fish or seafood is another course. I like it when it's all together. It stays hotter. I like it. And it's just absolutely superb. Now I'm getting hungry talking about bouillabaisse, one of my favorites. James writes, what is your go-to snack? Leftover Chinese food, leftover Thai food, leftover Vietnamese food. If it's in my fridge, it's my favorite snack. Cookies and milk, cereal at night. What else do I do? Gino's pizza rolls. I'm a big fan. Any kind of oddball homemade pizza thing that isn't pizza. Example, I keep cups and quarts of homemade tomato sauce in my fridge or in my freezer. Defrost a small one, toast some English muffins, smear the tomato sauce on there, put some mozzarella cheese, some oregano, fresh basil in the oven, finish under the broiler. Is there anything better than English muffin pizza? I think not. Gas station pizza is right up there. What is it they say about pizza? There's no such thing as bad pizza. There's no such thing as bad sex. Well, let's just say there's no such thing as bad pizza. Jeff writes, are you watching the show The Bear? Of course I am. If so, what are your thoughts? I have many. I'm writing about them Monday on my Substack. But I'll give you a hint. It's a fabulous show. It's brilliantly constructed. It's superbly acted. It's wonderfully written. It's impactful. It's more realistic than most TV. And most importantly, all the folks who are complaining about it, whether it's realism, its impact on the industry, all that other kind of stuff, are making way too much out of this. If our industry is so fragile that it can be impacted by a television program, which people understand is a fiction, it has a plot, right? Chris Storer has created a wonderful drama, okay? Comic drama. He is not creating docu-follow reality television. But there is so much about The Bear that is realistic. There is so much negative stuff about our industry that's accurately portrayed. And there's so much wonderful, kind, generous, benevolent, beauty in that about our industry that's so well behaved. How about just Carmi's love of trying to do the best thing that he knows how to do? I mean, I think The Bear's fantastic. Very hard for me to watch the first 2 or 3 episodes. Once I got past that, because of I don't want to say the PTSD, but like, I'd hear the printer going off. I saw him scrub, I think end of episode 2, beginning of episode 3, he's scrubbing everything in the kitchen by himself, kneeling and then lying on the floor. The emotional distress that he went through, and I just think it's a wonderful show. Very well done. Robitaille writes, are there more family dinners on the way? I sure hope so. Right now, TV is being bought in a different way. So we're at the end of a contract cycle. They have like 38 episodes. And I hope we get to make more of them. But I continue to make television, and I hope you watch it. But everybody should write Magnolia and tell them they want more. AZN Photog 206 writes, as a chef, what do you do while you wait for inspiration to create something new? I cook something old and try to make it better. Honest to God's truth. Sometimes inspiration doesn't grab you. Sometimes I don't have a new dish, or sometimes I don't want to experiment. Sometimes I just want to make something that I love to make. And I did that tonight for dinner. New herring are in season right now. These are the 2 or 3 weeks that fresh herring, the first of the season, is coming out of the North Atlantic. The Dutch soak it in a 1-2% salt water solution, briefly brine it, just enough to sort of cure it, but doesn't taste salty, doesn't taste overly cured, and it gets shipped all around the world to obsessives like me. Russ and Daughters in New York City will ship you a 10-pack of new herring, and I got some today. And I sliced one and just ate it with shaved onions and lemon and dill. And then the other one I put on a toasted bialy plain and just ate it that way with a little bit of sugar, mustard, and red wine vinegar mixed together. I just love fresh herring. I could just eat the whole thing, just pull the... I love the first herring of the year. So there you have it. Until next week, go to Spilled Milk. Tell your friends to subscribe. If you like what we're doing there, if you like the recipes, if you like the content, if you like the AMAs, tell your friends about it. Have a great weekend. Happy 4th of July.